surrender to Krishna. When the false pride is destroyed, whether in honor or dishonor, we should surrender to Krishna. What kind of surrender? The surrender is also of two types. One is the surrender of Draupadi. What did Draupadi do? When Dushasana was trying to disrobe her, she simply put her two hands above. She was completely surrendered to Krishna. And the other kind of surrender that we see is with Arjun. Yes, Arjun also surrendered, but what was his surrender? At the end of Krishna telling the Bhagavad Gita, the kind of surrender that Arjun did was, he fought for Krishna with more diligence. So that means surrender is also of two types. One is you completely depend on Krishna, and one is you diligently work for Krishna. Now, why I am clarifying this is, sometimes when we speak about surrender with the devotees, they manipulate this word surrender and they manipulate this word dependence on Krishna by becoming lazy. Now, dependence on Krishna does not mean that you become lazy and you don't work. So there are two things here. Those things which you are, which is under your control, that for those things you diligently work for Krishna. And those things which are not under your control, for them you become completely dependent on Krishna. This is very important. Otherwise, imagine if you say dependent, imagine devotees stop working. Like, let's say today I call you all for a feast at Vishakhapatnam, and when you come, I'll say I'm just depending on Krishna. Krishna will make arrangements. And that doesn't work like that. I get everything, I make all preparations, I work hard, and then if it is not tasting properly or I couldn't do, that is then surrendering or depending on Krishna. But otherwise, as devotees, just like Arjun, he didn't put down his bow and arrow and say, I depend on Krishna. He diligently worked for Krishna. With focus, he worked for Krishna. So this is the surrender that we are talking about. So surrender means you are, of course, sometimes devotees are so confused about this. They will ask, but how much to depend on Krishna? And how much to depend on our endeavor is a very big confusion. How to balance? That is a regular question I get. Now, my answer for this is, you work so hard as if the result of that work is dependent on you and your endeavor. And you pray so hard to Krishna as if the result of work is dependent on Krishna. That means you pray hard as if Krishna is going to do everything, and you work hard as if you are doing everything. So that is the way we do our best and we leave the rest for Krishna. So that is what it means by surrender to Krishna or depending on Krishna. Depending on Krishna does not mean that we become lazy. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna lage. Sab Krishna, Krishna, Krishna lage. Sab Krishna, Krishna, Krishna lage. Sab Krishna.